They told us technology would expand love. They told us independence would strengthen relationships. Because when two people choose each other freely, that choice should mean more. They told us that more options would mean better matches, better timing, better outcomes. They told us that if everyone leveled up education, income, freedom, and romance would finally become fair. But here we are in 2026, and a lot of men are looking around and thinking, why does it feel harder to build something real than it did when we had less? Not because men lost value, not because women ruined dating, not because commitment is dead. It feels harder because the entire environment around intimacy changed faster than the human nervous system can adapt. We're trying to build a fire in the rain and then acting surprised when the flame won't catch. So tonight I want to talk to the men who are quietly exhausted. The men who did what they were told: get in shape, get your money right, be emotionally available, respect boundaries, communicate better, be supportive, be ambitious, be stable, be interesting. The men who aren't looking for drama, just a woman who feels like home, and a life that feels like it's moving forward. And I want to do it without blame, because blame is cheap. Clarity is expensive. Clarity requires you to look at the system, not just the people stuck inside it. 1. The attention economy didn't kill dating. It changed what dating rewards. In a world where attention is currency, dating doesn't reward character first. It rewards presentation first. That shift is subtle but brutal. When love becomes something you market, you stop acting like a human being and start acting like a brand. You start treating your body like an advertisement, your hobbies like bullet points, your personality like a trailer for a movie that might never come out. And then we wonder why so many first dates feel like interviews. We're watching people compete for the feeling of being chosen and confusing that for being loved. The core problem isn't that choice exists, it's that choice is infinite, and our brains were never built for infinite. Infinite choice doesn't create peace, it creates doubt. It creates the sense that something better is always one swipe away, one message away, one upgrade away. And when better is always possible, good starts to feel like settling. Men feel this as a constant pressure to be exceptional just to be considered. Women feel it as a constant pressure to choose perfectly because the menu never ends. That's how abundance turns into paralysis. And the quiet truth is, the algorithm doesn't hunt for love. It hunts for engagement. If you keep swiping, it wins. If you keep wondering, it wins. If you keep comparing, it wins. So men end up performing, women end up auditing, and nobody ends up resting. 2. Loneliness isn't a women's issue or a men's issue. It's a modern life issue. We keep acting like loneliness is a personal flaw. Like it means you're not attractive enough, social enough, healed enough, successful enough. But loneliness is increasingly a structural outcome of how we live. AARP's 2025 survey of adults 45 plus found 40% were classified as lonely, and the gender pattern had flipped. Men reported higher loneliness than women, 42% versus 37%. That's not because men are defective. It's because many men have built lives where their only emotionally intimate relationship is their partner. And when that relationship is unstable, delayed, or never forms, there's a cliff edge. Work acquaintances are not brothers, and a group chat is not a community. Meanwhile, the old institutions that used to hold people, neighborhoods, extended family, civic groups, faith communities, have thinned out. We replace them with feeds. Men aren't just trying to find a girlfriend. They're trying to find a place to belong. And if you don't name that need, Honestly, you'll keep trying to solve a community problem with a dating app. 3. Dual income life created more freedom and a new kind of friction. Let's say it plainly. Two ambitious adults can build an incredible life. But two ambitious adults also create friction points that older generations didn't face at the same scale. Time becomes scarce. Recovery disappears. Home becomes a logistics hub. Stress follows you into the bedroom. Every conversation competes with emails, calendars, fatigue, and the quiet dread of falling behind. There's research literature and ongoing work on the challenges dual earner couples face: division of labor, role conflict, decision making, and the constant negotiation of work and family demands. The romance killer isn't equality, it's exhaustion. When both people are running hard, the relationship becomes another project to manage. And love does not thrive when it's treated like a performance review. Men experience this as a demand to be both rock and therapist while also winning at work. Women experience it as the pressure to be high achieving and nurturing while also staying desirable and easy to be with. And if you don't consciously build rest into the relationship, you will unconsciously build resentment. 4. The fertility timeline didn't change just because careers did. This is where the modern story gets emotionally honest. We built a world that asks people to delay everything meaningful: marriage, kids, home, until they arrive, until they're stable, optimized, ready. But biology does not run on LinkedIn deadlines. In January 2026, the Congressional Budget Office projected the U.S. total fertility rate at about 1.58 births per woman in 2026, remaining low for decades. And reporting on CDC data described the U.S. fertility rate hitting a historic low, around 1.599 in 2024. You don't need to weaponize that statistic. You just need to respect what it signals: a society that delays family formation long enough that many people miss the window or enter it under pressure. Men feel that pressure too, not because men own women's fertility, but because men also want legacy, family, continuity. Many men want to build something that outlives their job title. They want to come home to noise, to meaning, to a life that isn't just consumption. And a lot of women feel a quiet grief that nobody prepared them for. Success can be real and still feel incomplete. So if you're a man hearing this, don't turn it into a lecture. Turn it into leadership. Build a relationship culture where family is not someday and commitment is not treated as a trap. 5. Marriage feels riskier. So men hesitate, and women feel that hesitation. Now we step into the part nobody wants to talk about without becoming combative. There is a measurable pattern. Women initiate divorces more often than men. A well-known study presented through the American Sociological Association reports women initiated about 69% of divorces and men 31%. That doesn't automatically mean women are wrong. It can mean women are less satisfied. It can mean women are less willing to tolerate misery. It can mean cultural expectations changed. But here's what it does do. It changes male behavior. When men believe the exit door is more available on one side than the other, they start guarding themselves. They delay. They stay in situationships. They avoid legal commitments, not always out of selfishness, often out of fear. And fear does not create romance. Fear creates negotiation. Fear creates distance. Fear creates men who keep one foot out the door, even when they care. If you want men to commit, the environment has to reward commitment instead of punishing it. That's not politics, that's psychology. 6. Health isn't vanity. It's the foundation of desire, energy, and patience. Modern life makes bodies softer, tired, and inflamed, men's bodies and women's bodies, and the data is not abstract. The CDC reported that during August 2021, August 2023, adult obesity prevalence was about 40.3% overall and about 41.3% among women. Why does this matter for relationships? Not because anyone deserves shame. Shame is useless. It matters because health affects mood, libido, sleep, confidence, fertility, and stress resilience. And relationships are basically two nervous systems trying to co regulate. If both nervous systems are overloaded, love feels like work. Men. If you want a calmer relationship, build a calmer body. Train, walk, sleep, eat like an adult. Handle your stress, not to impress strangers, so you can show up with steadiness. Because the man with the best abs isn't the winner. The man with the best nervous system is. 7. Money expectations are changing, and confusion is everywhere. We're in a transitional era. Some people want traditional dynamics. Some want modern egalitarian splits. Most people want a hybrid, but they can't say it clearly. Surveys show younger generations are not uniformly men should pay. For example, an Investopedia piece, drawing on survey data, reported only 36% of Gen Z thought a man should pay for dates, and about a quarter preferred splitting. Reuters reported on a Bank of America survey suggesting many Gen Z adults spend little or nothing on dating amid rising costs. The point isn't the exact numbers. The point is the mismatch of expectations. When expectations aren't spoken, people start testing each other, and tests corrode trust. Men end up feeling used. Women end up feeling unsafe. Everyone ends up cynical. A mature man doesn't rage about it. He clarifies early. He says calmly, I'm generous, but I'm not here to be evaluated like a wallet. I'm here to build something mutual. And then he watches who respects that. 8. The real enemy isn't women. It's the collapse of shared meaning. If you're a man listening to this, I want you to hear me. You will never win by hating women. You'll only become a customer of your own bitterness. The enemy is not the opposite sex. The enemy is a culture that turned intimacy into content, people into products, dating into shopping, commitment into a liability, and vulnerability into a risk. So what do? Not a slogan, not a trend, not a red pill rant, not a boss babe rebuttal. We build a new standard, presence over performance. The path forward for men who want real love. 1. Stop optimizing for attention. Optimize for character. Attention gets you options. Character gets you outcomes. If you want a wife, you need to become the kind of man a wife can relax with. 2. Build brotherhood first. A girlfriend is not a social plan. A wife is not a therapy plan. Build male friendships that have depth. Your relationship will be stronger when your emotional needs don't all funnel into one person. 3. Choose women who choose peace, not perfection. Peace, the woman who can repair after conflict, the woman who can apologize, the woman who doesn't punish you for being human, the woman whose life isn't fueled by comparison. 4. Lead with clarity, not control. Clarity is masculine. Control is insecure. A strong man doesn't manipulate. He states his values and lives them. 5. Make the home a refuge. In a world that demands performance, whoever creates refuge becomes priceless. That means routines, warmth, predictable kindness, and repair. It means you don't bring war into the living room. 6. Don't confuse chemistry with compatibility. Chemistry is a spark. Compatibility is a fireplace. One keeps you warm for a night. The other keeps you warm for a decade. 7. Practice the rare skill, staying. Not staying in abuse. Not staying in disrespect. staying in the ordinary, staying in the boring, staying long enough to watch love mature past novelty. Because here's the truth, nobody says loud enough. A lot of people aren't afraid of commitment. They're afraid of being committed to someone who can replace them. And in a culture of endless alternatives, that fear makes sense. So the future of love belongs to the people brave enough to make each other non replaceable again, not by locking each other down, but by building a bond so intentional, so loyal, so mutually protected that both nervous systems finally exhale. Men weren't predicting the end of intimacy. Many men were simply feeling early that something was changing, that love was being repriced, remarketed, and re engineered by systems that do not care whether your heart makes it out alive. This is not a speech about blaming women. It's a speech about refusing to be shaped by a culture that turns everyone into consumers and then acts shocked when nobody feels loved. So if you're tired, good. That means you still want something real. If you've been burned, good. That means you tried. Now the ask is simple, but not easy. Stop scrolling for a life. Start building one. Stop performing for strangers. Start showing up for your people. Stop waiting for the perfect match. Start becoming the kind of man who can hold imperfect love with strength. Because the goal isn't to be chosen by the most people. The goal is to be seen by one good person and to have the courage to see them back.